This is a very important message for you today. Do not ignore it. Pay attention to this message. My beloved child, listen carefully. If you trust in God, type Amen. Some moments don't make noise. They don't knock, they don't announce themselves, they simply arrive, softly, silently, like the brush of light across your face before your eyes even open. This moment is one of them. 15 minutes ago, something extraordinary happened. Not here. Not on earth. But in a space so sacred, only angels may enter. And in that room, where human voices do not echo, where silence is a form of worship, your name was whispered. Not shouted. Not pleaded. Whispered. With reverence. With knowing. With love. Because heaven does not need volume to speak power. It needs truth. And when your name passed through that holy silence, something shifted. A message was written. A letter formed, not on paper, but in light. And that letter was for you. Archangel Michael stands with it now, not as a messenger with orders, but as a guardian holding something sacred. His wings are not raised to defend. They are relaxed. Open. At peace. Because this is not a warning. It is a homecoming. This message is not meant to shake you. It's meant to gather you back into truth, back into softness, back into the part of you that always knew you were more than what this world has allowed you to feel. The letter begins not with explanation, but with tenderness. We see you. We never stopped. Even when you hid from yourself. Even when you were too tired to ask. Even when your prayers were silent tears instead of spoken words, we heard them all. Because you've never once been forgotten. And now, it's time you remember that, too. Your name didn't echo in that heavenly chamber by accident. It was placed there. Intentionally. Delicately. As if the very sound of it could unlock a door you thought was sealed shut. And now, it has. That's why you're here. Not because of coincidence. Because heaven moved, without asking your permission, to deliver something that had been held back too long. Michael reads softly now, his voice more warmth than sound. You've always belonged. Even in rooms that made you question it. Even in families that didn't reflect it. Even in relationships that broke beneath the weight of your depth. You belonged, not because of what they saw in you, but because of what heaven placed in you. This letter doesn't come with instructions. It doesn't come with expectations. It comes with memory of who you are when you're not performing, not protecting, not pretending. It calls you back, not to who you were before the pain, but to who you were before the world told you to forget your worth. And now, with every word you read, that light grows. The room you sit in begins to feel warmer, safer, softer. Because you're not just reading a message. You're remembering something that never left. Something that never stopped reaching for you, even when you felt unreachable. Michael closes this part of the letter not with finality, but with a sacred beginning. Your name was spoken with love, with purpose, with eternity behind it. And now, heaven waits for you to answer. The letter doesn't begin with praise. It begins with presence. And presence is what you've longed for more than anything. Not attention. Not applause. Just someone, anyone, who truly sees you. Who feels the weight you carry without asking you to explain it. Who doesn't measure your value by how much you give, or how much you hide just to keep the peace. Heaven has seen it all. And now, through this letter, it's time you see yourself again too. Archangel Michael carefully unfolds the next words, not loudly, not with drama, but like someone opening a treasure that's waited too long to be held. His eyes are soft, not because you are fragile, but because this truth is holy. You are not too much. You never were. He pauses, not for effect, but because he knows how long you've waited to hear that. He continues, you've spent years thinking your heart needed shrinking. That your emotions made you difficult. That your ability to feel everything was a weakness, instead of the divine radar it really is. But we, the ones who were there when your soul was formed, we placed that sensitivity inside you for a reason. Not to break you, but to guide others toward healing through you. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to show what doesn't have to be hidden anymore. Heaven continues through the letter. You think you've wasted time. That you should have been further by now. But you have no idea how much we've celebrated every quiet choice you made to stay kind in a cruel world. Every moment you chose stillness instead of striking back. Every time you showed up, even when no one noticed. That's not delay. That's depth. You feel it now, not just in your mind, but in your chest. That stirring. That soft ache that says, maybe I've been harder on myself than even the world was. And heaven answers that before you even ask. The voice in your head that calls you behind, it was never ours. We only speak in truth. And the truth is, you have never disappointed us. You are not late. You are not broken. You are not forgotten. Michael looks up now. No longer just a messenger. He's standing still like a sentry at the gate of a life you've only begun to step into. Because what comes next in the letter isn't a reminder, it's a release. You are allowed to begin again. Not because you failed, but because you finally remembered you were never meant to live small. That's what heaven whispered 15 minutes ago. Not because it had to, but because it wanted to, for you. The angels didn't gather in that sacred room to debate your worth. They gathered to celebrate your return to your own soul. And now, they wait. Not for your performance. Not for your perfection. Just for your yes. Your yes to the truth that was written about you before the world ever tried to edit it. They didn't just whisper your name because you were struggling. They whispered your name because it was time. Time for you to remember who you are. Time to stop carrying identities that were never yours. Time to peel away everything the world forced you to become just to survive. Because underneath all of that, beneath the strong face, the tired heart, the polite silence, is the real you. The one heaven remembers clearly. Archangel Michael doesn't speak right away. He lets you feel this next part in your chest before you hear it in your mind. This is not a message for the ears. This is a message for the soul. You were created with intentionality, the letter says now, voice calm but full. Your soul was formed with fingerprints of purpose. You were never meant to be average. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to carry something the world didn't know it needed until you arrived. Maybe you always sensed that. That subtle pull. That quiet ache. The feeling that your emotions ran deeper than most. That you couldn't just float through life like others seemed to. That even in childhood, you carried questions too big for your age. That wasn't overthinking. That wasn't overfeeling. That was spiritual awareness. Heaven placed that awareness in you because the world you'd walk into would try to strip it away. But it couldn't. Not fully. Because even when you forgot, your spirit remembered. Michael finally speaks, and his voice holds the weight of ancient things. You weren't just sent to live. You were sent to awaken others. To heal through your kindness. To disrupt through your softness. To comfort in places where love had been absent too long. This is why your path has been different. Not cursed, crafted. That's why the noise never worked for you. That's why shallow conversations drain you. That's why you can feel what others don't say. You are a soul teller. A truth carrier. A light bearer. Not because you're perfect, but because you're aware. And in this moment, the letter affirms it. You are not here to hide. You are here to be seen. Because someone else's breakthrough depends on your visibility. You weren't placed in this life by mistake. You weren't born into your family by error. Even the pain had shape. Even the wounds had timing. Because what you carry now, what you've become through every heartbreak and every rising, is precisely the medicine someone else is praying for. And heaven has chosen you to deliver it. Not with a platform. Not with a title. Just with presence. With truth. with love that flows from scars instead of avoiding them. Michael lowers the letter slightly, as if to say the next line must be received, not just read. You are ready now. Not because you've healed everything, but because you finally know who you are without needing others to agree. This is the moment the letter turns from revelation to invitation. Because now that you remember why you were sent here, the only thing left is to begin. Not from scratch, but from your own center. From the sacred fire inside you that never went out, just waited for this moment to breathe again. The letter no longer feels like it's being read to you. It feels like it's being read through you. Every line pulls a thread of truth that had been buried beneath years of surviving. Every word begins to stitch your soul back into alignment with what you were always meant to be. You don't need someone to approve this journey anymore, you're already walking it. Heaven never needed you to become louder. It needed you to become clearer. Clear in who you are. Clear in what you carry. Clear in how you shift the energy of every room you enter, not by force, but by essence. That's the part of you that even you forgot. That you don't need to try so hard to be meaningful. You already are. You always were. Archangel Michael lowers his gaze now, not out of sorrow, but out of reverence. Because this part of the message isn't about heaven speaking to you anymore. It's about what you're ready to speak into the world. You have carried sacred fire, the letter says softly. Not the kind that burns loudly, but the kind that warms quietly. You're the kind of presence that teaches others how to exhale. You are not here to fix everyone. You are here to remind them they're not broken. Maybe you didn't realize it, but this is already who you are. The way you listen when someone's voice begins to tremble. The way you soften your tone so others feel safe enough to open. The way your presence tells the truth even when your words stay silent. These are not random traits. They're divine appointments carried through your existence. Michael places the letter down, not because it's finished, but because you finally remember the rest. It's written in you now. Every time you choose compassion instead of judgment. Every time you stay when it would have been easier to walk away. Every time you lead with heart instead of ego, that is the letter continuing through your life. You were never waiting for a platform. You were the platform. Your life is the message. Your love is the miracle. Your healing is the proof. And now heaven steps back, not in abandonment, but in belief. Because they know you're ready to walk forward with light that doesn't demand to be seen but changes everything it touches. Michael's voice is clear now, anchored and steady. This is not the end of your letter. It is the part where you become the author. Go write what no one else could. Go live what only your soul remembers. And know this, every step forward echoes in heaven as a victory. Because you've returned to yourself. And nothing is more holy than that. For the first time in a long time, the world doesn't feel like it's racing ahead without you. It doesn't feel like you're trying to catch up, or running towards some invisible finish line that keeps moving. Instead, it feels like the rhythm of your life has finally slowed to match something eternal. You're not late. You were never late. You were just moving through layers of forgetting, of noise, of survival, until your spirit could hear what heaven has been whispering all along. The letter doesn't end. It doesn't even pause. Because now, you don't need words to know it's speaking. You feel the message in your body. In how your breath comes easier. In how your heart feels less clenched. In how, for the first time, you trust that maybe what you feel isn't just emotion, it's divine guidance. Archangel Michael stands silently now, not because there's nothing left to say, but because you no longer need him to say it. You're hearing something deeper. Not in your ears. In your timing. You've started noticing things differently. People show up just as you need them. Conversations happen that answer questions you never voiced. Small shifts around you begin to echo big confirmations within you. You're not imagining this. You're not forcing it. You're aligned now with something greater. You've stopped begging for signs, the letter says now, gently. Because you've become the sign. Your clarity is what others feel when they don't have words. Your peace is what others remember after they leave your presence. This is divine timing, not about speed, but about sync. It's in how you walk now. Slower. But stronger. It's in how you pause, not out of fear, but out of reverence for the moment. You no longer feel rushed by the world's expectations. Because you've remembered the truth, heaven never measures destiny by deadlines. Michael finally speaks, his voice like a sunrise, soft but undeniable. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. Not because it's perfect, but because it's present. And that's where the miracles begin. You start to understand what miracle really means. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just real. Just showing up for the moment with your whole soul intact. Just saying what's honest. Just loving with no guarantee. Just being who you are, without shrinking or proving. That's what moves heaven. That's what changes earth. And now, you don't feel behind. You feel here. Present. Ready. Open. Not to control what comes next, but to live it fully, guided by something deeper than logic, your spirit, now aligned with time that doesn't tick, it breathes. This is the timing heaven always intended for you. You're not off track. You are the track. There was a time when you waited for someone to show you the way. When your heart whispered questions and you hoped the world would whisper back with answers. But now, something has shifted. Something sacred. You're no longer the one asking. You're becoming the one who is the answer. Not because you know everything, but because your presence alone brings a peace that others have been searching for in silence. And that's not by accident. It's because heaven has written something into you that can't be erased, not by pain, not by delay, not even by doubt. You are no longer just holding the letter. You've become the letter. A walking message from eternity that says, it's possible to fall and rise. It's possible to lose and still love. It's possible to be shattered and still shine. Archangel Michael watches, not with instruction, but with awe. Because even angels recognize when a human finally steps into the full, quiet power of who they were born to be. Not loud. Not seeking approval. But grounded. Glowing. Carrying the kind of grace that softens others without a single word. The world hasn't changed. But you have. And now, every space you enter shifts, just because you are in it. You don't need to convince. You don't need to explain. You carry peace like breath. You carry healing without effort. You're not performing kindness anymore. You are kindness. And that is divine. You are not here to preach, the letter says now, gently. You are here to live in such a way that people feel love just by being near you. You are here to listen, not fix. To hold, not hurry. To remind people, without even saying it, that they are still seen by heaven. This is what being a living message means. That your silence can be sacred. That your patience is a testimony. That your gentleness is resistance to a world that forgot how to be soft. You are not what you do. You are what you allow others to feel when they are in your presence. And now that you've remembered yourself, you are free to live as the miracle you've been waiting for. Michael speaks one last line in this chapter. It's not a command. It's a confirmation. You were never lost. You were just waiting for the moment when your soul was ready to be read out loud. That moment is now. And the world is already listening. There comes a moment when silence no longer feels empty, but sacred. When you stop needing more words, more signs, more assurance, because what you were searching for is no longer outside of you. It's within. Breathing. Steady. Present. You feel it now, don't you? That shift. That stillness. That quiet knowing that somehow, in the unseen realm where angels gather, something has closed. Not like a door shutting, but like a circle completing. Archangel Michael stands beside you, no longer holding the letter. Because the letter is no longer needed. Not because it wasn't powerful, but because its power has now been planted in you. Every line it carried has become your breath. Every truth it held has settled into your bones. And now, the angels do not whisper. They watch. They watch as you begin to walk, not as someone unsure, but as someone entrusted. Chosen. Beloved. The letter is not ending, heaven says now. It is continuing through you. Every act of kindness you give is a sentence added. Every forgiveness you choose is a paragraph written. Every boundary you honor is a chapter reclaimed. And every time you show up for yourself, quietly, fiercely, you remind the world of who sent you. There is nothing more to prove now. Nothing left to earn. You are not being tested anymore. You are being trusted. Trusted to carry divine peace into ordinary moments. Trusted to be the voice of calm in chaos. Trusted to be the gentle light that doesn't try to overpower, but quietly reveals. You were the message. You are the message. And now, you're living it out loud, just by being exactly who heaven made you to be. Michael speaks for the final time. His voice is full of reverence. Heaven is not waiting for you to be perfect. Heaven is smiling, because you've remembered who you are. And that remembrance is your return. He begins to fade, not because he's leaving, but because you no longer need him to stand in front of you. You're strong now. Spiritually rooted. Emotionally clear. Fully here. And as he steps back, the light doesn't dim. It rises, from you. This is what your soul has waited for all this time. Not applause. Not recognition. Just the quiet truth that says, you're no longer missing. You've arrived. And now, the world receives you. Heaven rests. And your letter lives on. If you believe in God, type Amen or 444 or 555 or 000 111. Subscribe for more videos.